A story has several parts to it. So first you have what's called the introduction. And the introduction happens about right here, and this is where you find out several things: the characters, the setting, and the conflict that exists in the story. So you learn about the characters, you learn who the main characters are, and you learn a little bit about them. And then you learn about the setting. So this is where the story is taking place. So you might find out, okay, the story is happening in Connecticut, and the story happened in the 1850s, or the story happened in 2005. So you find out things like that. And then you find out the conflict that exists. Because most stories exist to solve a conflict. There's something wrong in the story. And so throughout the story, the characters are trying to fix it. So you learn about the problem at the beginning of the story. And then next we have what's called the rising action. And the rising action is the smaller problems the main character will struggle with that occurs during the story. So the character continues to face problems. The main character has problems he has to deal with. Now eventually we get to what is called the climax. So this is at the top. So you can kind of look at a story like a mountain. So this is what we have right here. We have the introduction, and then in the story you start going up the mountain, and then you get to the top of the mountain, and this is the climax. This is the exciting part, because this is where change occurs. Remember, there was a problem at the beginning of the story, and now at the climax the problem is fixed. And so this can be good or bad for the main character. And so then you have what's called the falling action. And so this is really where the problem is solved. So you can think of the climax as the most exciting part of the story, but where the problem is actually solved is right here. So notice the rising action is slower than the falling action. That's because a large part of the story is devoted to the part where the problems keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But after you encounter the most exciting part of the story, it doesn't make sense for the story to go on that much longer. So that's why falling action happens very quickly. And so this is where the main character is aware of the problem in the story and either overcomes the problem or has to deal with a negative outcome. And then finally we have the conclusion of the story. So that happens right here. So this is the opposite of the introduction. And so this kind of closes everything out in the story. It tells you kind of what happens with all the characters. And it shows what life is like now that the problem is over. So before you learned about the characters and what they were like as they were going through this conflict or this problem, now you learn what the characters are like now that the problem is over and fixed. So those are the parts of a story.
To find out more about how to ace your test and get more practice for your test, click the study guide. Learn why Mometrix is the best and smartest decision you can make for your test prep choice. We have done all the work cutting through the fluff to give you what you need to perform well on your exam. Click the study guide to get started now, and thank you for watching and learning with us.